Want to hear 25 remote work experts share their amazing strategies and processes for building successful remote work companies and remote team? We've got speakers from leading companies like Thinkific, Evergreen Profits, Dynamite Circle, and Tribe Theory, and more. Register for your free ticket now at www.remotebusinesssummit.com.
That's right, www.remotebusinesssummit.com. We'll see you there, November 18 to 22.
Woohoo! Welcome to Founders Connect podcast. We help lifestyle entrepreneurs to grow their business online and create a happier marriage.
Did you know that approximately 45% of marriages end up in divorce and 65% of all startups fail due to founder conflicts? Well, we're here to change that.
Each week we bring you an inspiring guest and practical tips to help you with business, relationships, and sustainable living. Now let the fun begin! Hi, I'm Cindy Pham.
And I'm Anthony Chansamuth.
And we're from Founders Connect.
Today, I've got my good friend and epic content marketer, Suzie Nguyen, who is the two-time top voice on LinkedIn.
Yay, that's a mouthful.
Okay, and known for your social videos as a founder of The Trusted Voice. I love that name. She's on a mission to help professionals escape the 9-to-5 job, become their own voice and boss online.
Yeah.
And she's also also organizes fried chicken parties all around the world. And she can tell you all about that in a moment. Thanks for coming on today, String.
Thanks for having me. I'm a big fan of you when it comes to copy. And I always seem to ask you to hey, can you check out my stuff?
I do. Let's start with a very simple question. How did you get into your current position?
Actually, I had a 9-to-5 job. And I realized I wasn't suited for it. That was 10 years ago. And I graduated as an interior designer, did that for a while. And I realized that I wanted to be my own boss. So I actually became an artist before I realized that to be a successful artist these days, you need to become a business person. And the only avenue that I felt like gave me my own narrative or control my own destiny was going online. And being online allowed me to create content that's authentic to me, build up my own brand and voice, travel around the world, and organize fried chicken parties as well at the same time.
Tell us about these fried chicken parties, because that makes no sense for people listening to this.
I guess my theory about personal branding is there's so much people saying they've built up personal branding, so you need a point of difference. And from now on, String loves fried chicken, and every time you go see KFC fried chicken, you go think of me, which is one of my friends is that doesn't make sense. It's but people who really love me or want to hang out with me will always come to my fried chicken party. And I go to clients' offices and waiting for me is fried chicken. So there's something kind of endearing when clients buy fried chicken gear or send you fried chicken because they think of you. So every time they see KFC or eat fried chicken, they think of me now, which is a great way to do personal branding.
You've just worked out how to get free fried chicken wherever you go. That's just gold. Yeah. Has anyone actually bought you a year's worth of KFC yet? That's going to happen.
I'm working on it. Well, that's not surprisingly. I think what it's going to do is even sponsorships. For some reason, when I go around, when I get brand deals, they always organize fried chicken parties for me. So it's I never paid for my own fried chicken for the last couple of years. Let's just say it works. Brand sponsorship. Yeah.
Oh, I love it. Okay. Let's talk about your transition, because you said you did work in a 9-to-5 and then you moved into what you're doing now. Answer this question however way you want to answer it. The question is, What has been the most courageous decision that you've made in your career or in your life?
Following my own dreams. Actually, something really epic happened in my life that changed the way I think about living, which is my brother died when I was in my early 20s. And I was in a path to go, because my mum was a refugee who escaped the war from Vietnam, and I was set to do the 9-to-5 job because she's all about stability. But my brother died, and that kind of made me think about what is the meaning in my life. And I went through a moment of depression, and I had to fight that a lot because because I'm naturally an optimistic person. So even being depressed me. So I realized that you only live once. And my brother taught me that lesson. So that's why I created my own pathway, just being online and telling my own stories and sharing my own thoughts about how to use social. And it seems to gravitate because I've been able to find clients and build a business around it, build a network globally.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. I know that's very challenging. I lost my mother when she was just over 40. So she's quite young relatively. And that was kind of a wake up moment for me as well. And it's like you say, we just don't know when our time is up. And, you really get one chance to live your dream, pursue whatever you want to do.
What's interesting is I find that it's only when really big moments happen like that you wake up, because we tend to live our own life because things are easier now. People say it's harder, but it's actually much easier now. If you lived 100 years ago, we wouldn't have the same opportunities now or technologies now to live our own life. Imagine being a woman 100 years ago. I wouldn't be where I am right now.
No way, especially in the cultural upbringing and everything else, in a village somewhere, on a farm somewhere maybe, who knows?
Yes.
Wow. Okay. So that's led you to this path of, helping people to identify what they're all about, and then how do you actually turn that into what we're calling a personal brand?
Since I realized I was able to share my story and be authentic about it, I realized that you have to be very value driven, because people will follow people's journey and they see people progress and they want to see them win and grow and level up. So it's almost like people following your journey, you're documenting your experience, but you have to say that you can commit, this is what you're going to do, and then see you deliver it. And then it's that person actually execute what they have to say. Now, it's all about character.
It's all about character. Now, something you shared a while ago, which was really fascinating for me, was that you're naturally, let's say an introvert. So you worked out a way to get in front of people and overcome this fear a lot of people have about putting themselves a camera, their face on the camera or putting videos out. I hear a lot of people saying, well, I don't want to do that. I don't want to be I just want to hide behind a logo or have someone else be the face, and they don't really want to do that because I'm scared or I don't want to be judged or these things come up. How did you overcome that potential barrier for yourself? And did you ever, was that even a thing for you, or were you just hey, give me the camera,
Well, I have to say that most of my energy comes from just thinking a lot. What I realized that I was really good at is interviewing other people. So one of the first things that I did wasn't going on camera for myself and sharing my thoughts. It's actually engaging with the conversation on the other side of the people. So I actually use video as a way to say, hey, I want to have a conversation with this person. So that's how I started out. And then I interviewed a lot of people as well. So it's more my curiosity was bigger than my fear of the camera. I developed my skill sets for creating content that was more conversational than about me. And in reality, content should never be about you. Ironically, people say share your own thoughts, but it's almost the next level is what are the thoughts of other people and how can you amplify their thinking so they feel they resonate with your thoughts. First basic one is for content creators who just started out, they share their own stories. But the next one is how to create content that resonates with the audience or the person who reads it, because I feel it's their story. So that's what I'm trying to do. It's good to start off with. You're telling your own story. You could do that as more therapeutic. It's a diary writing experience. But the next level in terms of marketing, in terms of getting ideal clients, is actually creating content that resonates with the tribe or community thinking.
Yeah, I totally relate with that. Because I started off in a similar way. When I was working at Hub, where we met years ago, as a marketing manager in a co-working space, I saw that as a really good opportunity to interview founders and people who are, building cool things, doing great projects. And for example, I got in front of the two co-founders of Buffer back when they weren't this $1 million a month, whatever they are now. An easy way to do that was to say, hey, can we just interview you guys and put you in front of our audience? And they would just went, yeah, sure. That was, but if I was a nobody and I didn't have a platform, then it's very hard, right? Just to get these people who are also, remember, they're being interviewed by other people as well. People ask, they're getting requested all the time. I can't even imagine how many requests Gary Vee might get. And you were able to get him, I think it was in Hong Kong or somewhere.
Yes.
A couple of minutes. And you want to tell that story? Because that was an interesting story about how you actually got in front of him.
You are listening to the Founders Connect podcast. helping lifestyle entrepreneurs to grow their business online and create a happier marriage. Now back to the show.
Well, I actually tweeted him with because he reads his tweet. He doesn't respond, but I feel like I know his habits at the time. Like he reads, and so he's always conscious of his audience, and he knows what people say. And I know that very few people do videos. A video is a way to for me to stand out. So I kind of made everyone, hey, I'd love to interview Gary Vee. Can you retweet it? Because I just want him to pop me to make him familiar with my face. And he did, because I just pretty much camped in front of the only entrance of the conference. And even D-Rock called my camera for a moment.
There you go.
I just hustled.
Yeah.
Hustled, made use of it, sent the video, the interview over to my editor. He produced it, put a text into it. That went kind of viral. That's probably my most viral post ever, because it seems like everyone was how did you get into Gary Vee? It's I went in front of his face. So I made most of the opportunity. But it's also people say you get in front of his face. It's actually prepping beforehand. So when the opportunity comes, you make the most of the opportunity that comes your way.
But that's it. And you had to know that he was going to be at that venue for that event in that country, in that city, because you don't live in Hong Kong. Well, it was Hong Kong, right? So
yeah, I don't even live in Hong Kong, but I made the most of it. Also during that time, I interviewed over 20 founders during that time as well, because conferences is a great way to create content as well and build networking at the same time.
And in terms of tech, I know some people listening to this will go, well, what about equipment? What kind of microphone were you carrying, or were you just using your iPhone? How did you actually record that interview?
At that time, I hired a videographer at the time, because I wanted to make sure that I acted more like a presenter, a good host. Essentially, we used my iPhone, tripod, and I hooked it up with a mobile mic that I do when I go to conferences. But a videographer could be for a couple of hours or a day, costs less than $500 an hour, depending which level of videographer you can have. But that makes good content, because then because what they do is they cut it up in a way that it could be easier for your video editor to cut it as well. So that's what I do. But if you're just solo, but you have to, before you go to conferences, you can't be scared. You have to be almost start going to speakers and it's hey, are you interested in an interview? And you take 5 minutes of your time. And then I did a really good process where I know you're really busy, but what was your key message of your speaking keynote? And what I did, I reverse engineered that as well. So then I felt like it naturally came into the conversation itself. Because an interview or even a short form video, it's always about what is the key message that you want to convey in that one video.
And what you've done beautifully there is to match that with what the speaker is there for. So then fresh in their mind, and you're not asking them about something that happened 6 months ago that, it's not fresh. So I love that. Great tip. Hope you guys are listening to this. Okay, so now we've got you. You're coming on to the Remote Business Summit as one of our key speakers. So what does remote work or the remote work revolution mean to you personally, String?
So the future of work is moving towards where, again, it's about anti-9-to-5 job, because people want to live based on their values and their mission in life. So the more you understand where you fit in the world, the more you contribute back to the world. And I think because we live longer, one of the reasons why depression is going more higher or gone up to this peak moment is because we're not listening to our core values, and we're doing things that a 9-to-5 job could be really robotic experience, and you feel like you're not getting valued. So you may as well do something. I feel like the gig economy, the future of work is moving towards remote, but all the tasks are be done automatically or even automated. So we may as well find tasks that allows us to build up new skill sets that allows us to be more remote. And I feel like that's happening now, because we're seeing people who are coders, digital marketers at the first voyage of people who are working more remote now.
And what's been your experience either hiring remote workers or being one yourself? Obviously, you've been traveling around the world. What would you say, maybe 1 or 2 lessons or insights you've had being, on either end, as someone who's employing remote workers or someone who's being the remote worker themselves?
Communication is really key, I think, because if you're sick or something like that, you just have to be say, hey, I'm not in a great mood right now, but I'm working on this task that you're giving me. And don't give them 100 list of tasks. actually learning to prioritize the task out as well. A lot of people think that remote working means that it's contracting work in many ways if you have to treat them like that. But I feel like delegation of tasks is key, but prioritizing tasks as well. So people should be outcome driven than micro task driven.
Yeah, I think that's something that I feel some people still struggle with when they get into the world of remote working, because they kind of still have that traditional 9 to 5 mindset where it's like you sit down in the office for 8 hours and then we sort of calculate your hourly rate and these sort of things. And then when you're remote working and you're not sitting with your team member in the same space, maybe they're in a different time zone, and when you're sleeping, they're awake. It's harder to track. And one thing I see that people do is they try and get the other person to track all their time and send time reports every day. And it's like that doesn't really work, because one thing it does to the other person, and I've had it done to me, is I feel like I'm being micromanaged. I'm feeling demeaned. Like I'm feeling like you're not treating me like a human. And what does it matter?
Not even a professional. You're not even being treated like a professional. Not a human being. Of course, I love micromanaging. It's like, I want to make sure that my value has been given the right value. It's like, I'm giving you, especially a lot of small business owners, is like, I'm giving you $100. I want my $100 back. So that's like the mindset of a human.
There you go. Yeah. So great experience that you shared there. Now, what are you going to be teaching our audience on the summit?
Well, I'm going to be teaching the 7 V's, which is a summary of my framework. I don't know how to do it. Of how to do personal branding that stands out and be more memorable, which is your vision, your values, your Vogue, which is a German word for people, your visuals, your voice, your validation, your victory. It's because you want to monetize this, because people don't monetize your knowledge or expertise on day one.
Awesome. Really excited about that. And why do you think that's important for people to get now in terms of something?
Well, I think, you probably noticed my fried chicken is my visual. It's what is your key visual that triggers people to make them think about you? It could be a logo, but a logo could be generic because everyone wants to put a logo these days. So I find that if you have a quirky personality, people will remember you more than that old guy who's talking about finance. At the end of the day, there's going to be 100 million people probably talking about professional attitude, but what is about your content or about you that stands out? And victory, I always say, monetize that. Are you providing a service? Are you providing a product that allows you to convert these potential customers?
And you can't take fried chicken because String's already got it. So
that's okay. Well, I don't really care. If someone else do fried chicken, it's you copy String. So all you're doing is building up my brand. The only one that have to beat is Colonel Sanders these days.
Okay, good point. Okay, so whilst we're on the topic of personal branding, can you finish this sentence for me? It's not about personal branding. What it's really about is
you.
Ooh, mic drop.
That's it. You.
Love it. Okay, so you have to find out what that means when String drops all the gold in the summit. So you're also going to be giving one lucky summit participant a prize. And what is that prize for participating in the summit and watching your talk?
It seems like everyone really wants to do video these days. So what we're going to do, because I designed the workshops to be outcome driven, is to create a video content plan for LinkedIn, for example. So it's what is the format? What is the content that you should create for videos on LinkedIn, and talk about what equipment you can use as well.
Wicked. And that workshop's normally $297 USD. And someone's going to get that for free just by coming onto the summit and listening to String share wisdom. Awesome. Okay. So thanks for joining us today, String. And for anyone who wants to connect with this amazing person, the website is thetrustedvoice.co. You don't miss the I can't even say it right, the THE trustedvoice.co. And also String is very active on LinkedIn and other platforms, but definitely you want to check out the 2-time LinkedIn voice, then that's where you can connect with our friend String. Thank you for joining us today, String.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Thanks for tuning in. And remember to live passionately,
purposefully,
and confidently. Till next time. Ciao.